Welcome back to the Barley Lads. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Today we're drinking Middle West Sherry Finished Bourbon. This is Middle West Double Cask Bourbon. It's an Ohio Straight Bourbon finished in sherry casks from Middle West Spirits in Columbus, Ohio. ABV of 97.25 proof. 6 years, price-wise, around $100. Mash bill, it's a 4-grain mash bill with 68% sweet yellow corn, 16% soft red wheat, 11% dark pumpernickel rye, and 5% two-row barley. So Middle West Spirits, this is on our backyard. In fact, the distillery is probably 10 minutes from Bryce's place and maybe 15 or 20 minutes from mine. They make some very high quality products for being a craft distiller, and they have been growing in recent years because they're becoming well known for their well-made products. They have been producing this style, I will say, of bourbon for a few years, but under a different name. So the Middle West Distillery used to be the Ohio Distillery, and they released these cask finished whiskeys under the Ohio name. So I believe this might be the first year that they released it under the Middle West name, but they've also gotten away from any of their whiskeys being called Ohio whiskeys. They now have Middle West bourbons and rye, basically their whiskey lines, and wheat, as well as the Ohio vodkas, and then Vim and Petal is their gin line. So they have 3 different names for their 3 different styles of products. But along the same lines, they also have an Oloroso finished wheat whiskey, which is aged for 5 years, and a ported dark pumpernickel rye whiskey, which I believe was also aged for 5 years. So this is the oldest of the series, and I think this is the one that's been around for the longest as well, the bourbon finished, or the sherry finished bourbons. So Ryan Lang, though, the founder and as well as distiller, is a 4th generation distiller. His great grandfather, or great whatever 4th is, was also a moonshiner in Pennsylvania back in probably the early 1900s, late 1800s, depending on when that was. This is coming out of freshly charred American oak barrels to be bourbon that are made in the Speyside cooperage, not in Scotland, but in Jackson, Ohio, so a couple hours south of here. And then it's finished in Spanish Solera cask sherries. So we have tried the Middle West bourbon before on this channel and loved it. This one, though, it kind of really just strips away the typical bourbon notes, surprisingly, and it comes off much more like a sherry finished Scotch or Irish whiskey. And you don't really get those bourbon notes other than like oak and vanilla. Slightly oily, a lot of dark fruits though. Definitely tastes like raisins and a hint of vanilla again. Medium finish though, not as long as I would expect, and almost like a brandy in taste. Very good. I wouldn't say this is probably a $100 whiskey. I'd be much more happy if I could find this for $60, $70, even $75, but $100 is probably a little too much for this. But it is a phenomenal whiskey. And I want to thank my dad, Ray, for letting us try this one as well. And appreciate anyone who's willing to let us drink their whiskeys. But again, very good. Definitely recommend trying it if you can before buying it, because $100 is a lot of money. So thanks again for watching another episode of the Barley Lads. Today it's been Middle West Sherry Cask Finished Bourbon. Cheers.